If you want to know everything about living in the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, both the good and the bad, then subscribe below and tap the bell for notifications so you'll be the first to know about the real estate market in Toronto. My name is Marco Sobrevinas, broker of GTA Home Living, powered by Real Estate Homeward. My team and I get calls, texts, and emails all the time from people just like you looking to move to, from, or within Toronto, either moving up or downsizing. I help people by providing knowledge and education about the true state of the Greater Toronto real estate market. I'm committed to doing this with no hype, no agenda, and no BS. I'm not here to stir up hysteria or panic, nor will I sugarcoat facts in order to increase viewership. I don't depend upon social media for my income, and all of my videos are created in order to help educate people who are genuinely interested in what's truly going on in the GTA. I'll display real, raw data of sales figures and will never manipulate the facts. That's my commitment to you. We truly love helping people, and whether you're moving in 9 or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and we'd be happy to help you buy and or sell anywhere in the GTA. For this video, I want to help people see the big picture regarding market value and sold prices. Often we can be unsettled by loud proclamations of market volatility in real estate, especially in the GTA or Greater Toronto Area. We see claims of market meltdown in both the mainstream and particularly social media. Watching the market stats closely, the ups and the downs of numbers can be dizzying and confusing. To help give you a broader perspective of what's truly happening in the GTA, let's step back and analyze the big picture. That means instead of fake reactionary panic over constantly shifting numbers, we are going to go further back in time instead of just last month or even last year. But not so far back in time like 20 or 30 years. We all know that if you bought that long ago in the GTA, your real estate value is up tremendously. That's obvious. Instead, let's analyze what's been happening in the Greater Toronto Area real estate market since the winter of 2022. And to clarify, when I'm speaking about the geographic area of the GTA, it includes the following regions. City of Toronto, which is Central Toronto, Etobicoke, Scarborough, and North York, as they used to be called. York Region, which goes up to Georgina and includes Markham among the various cities and towns. Durham Region, that encompasses Pickering, Ajax, Whitby, Oshawa, Bowmanville, and more. Peel Region, which includes cities such as Mississauga and Brampton, and of course more. And Halton Region, that includes Burlington and Oakville. Also, for this large overview, I'm covering residential real estate only and combining freehold houses and condo properties altogether. As you've seen in my previous videos, I do separate those two residential categories with further detail when I'm drilling deeper into specific regions or over a shorter time period. With the entire GTA, as well as both freehold and condos covered, the monthly number of sales are in the thousands. For 2025, we have a minimum number of just under 4,000 sales in a single month to almost 9,000 sold residents in a single month. While the number I quote is the average monthly of all sales combined, it's a high enough amount that, for the most part, gives a reliable indication of state of the market at that moment. All statistics are raw, unaltered data from the Habistats analytics platform. All right, let's get into it. Going back to the winter of 2022, why am I starting our analysis from this time? January to March 2022 was the all-time peak for residential real estate prices in the GTA. Why did we have that extreme spike in the market value then? This was the season just before the first interest rate hike in spring 2022. Buyers were going into bidding wars on properties, often spending to their maximum budget in order to get the historically low interest rate on their mortgages. Once the first interest rate hikes start occurring, you can see in this graph prices subsiding, and they haven't reached that crazy peak since then. This explains the reason for that short 3-month period of exaggerated market value and the subsequent drop in prices. The absolute highest price in the GTA occurred February 2022, and that was $1,352,420. As you can see, prices in the GTA have been lower since then. Not in a steady declining path, however. Subsequent spring seasons of 2023, 24, and 25 see sold prices rising and then falling for the summer, followed by a lesser rise in the market value during the autumn months. This is a typical pattern that happens almost every year. The overall trend is lower than winter 2022, with those rises in values during spring and autumn seasons. Also, prices declined to its all-time low since 2022 back in 2024 and has actually been higher since that bottom of the market. I'll detail this more later on in this video. What was the average sold price during the autumn season of 2021 before the crazed panic buying of winter 2022? That was a more realistic figure. The highest peak during that autumn was November 2021, with the average sold price in the GTA of $1,178,645. Has the market ever reached those prices since then? Yes, it has. The spring of 2023 and 24 prices have exceeded that value in May 2023 or almost matched it in June 2024. For 2025, May was the peak when it comes to the average sold price for this year so far, and it is indeed quite a bit less than November 2021, let alone February 2022. Let's summarize here and do a bottom line. The answer is yes. Market value has declined since the peak of prices of February 2022. It's been lower peaks and valleys since then, not a steady decline. The peak of the market before the rushed buying of 2022's winter to avoid that interest rate was November 2021. Average sold prices have either exceeded that or almost matched it during the spring of 2023 and 2024. 2025 spring hasn't matched the November 2021 prices, let alone the winter 2022 peak. Our peak this year in the GTA, predictably, it was in the spring, specifically May 2025, with sold prices averaging $1,126,144. That's the summary. All right, let's view this from another angle. Let's look at the bottom of the market since the 2022 winter peak. Interestingly, it is not 2025. Not one single month during 2025 so far has the sold value dropped to the bottom of the market, which occurred almost 2 years ago, specifically in January 2024. That was an average of $1,031,908. That was the bottom of the market. Prices have indeed improved since January 2024. Since then, we peaked at $1,174,261 during May 2024, which is just under 14% up from the bottom. In May 2025, we hit this year's peak so far at $1,126,144, or just over 9% above January 2024 bottom of the market. Let's look at our current market value. We have the average sold prices for August 2025, which is typically a quiet month for number of sales and usually a dip in market value during a calendar year. August 2025's average sold price in the GTA is $1,088,000. and $43,758. In recent times, January 2023 and 2024 were below that figure. Before the 2022 winter peak prices, how many years back do you need to go to see the same average price in the GTA? January 2021, average sold prices in the GTA were $981,094. Prices in February 2021 were just above the August 2025 average at $1,072,219. So it goes back 4.5 years. Prices in autumn 2020 and further back were all below $1 million. So let's finish off the average sold prices at 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years back. August 2020, average price was $965,337. August 2015, it was $610,573. August 2010, it was $416,985. Not accounting for inflation. If you were to sell now, let's look at the percentages of market value gain. As I mentioned, if you bought in January 2024 or January 2023, you're breaking even. If you bought roughly 5 years ago, you're up 8%. If you bought 10 years ago, you're at 70%, 70, increase in market value. And if you bought 15 years ago, you're up 250%. Next week's episode, I'll do a deep dive into what's happening with condos, especially the difference in what's happening to very small bachelors or one-bedroom condos versus larger units.